Hey everybody, it's Ken, back from Right From Wrong. It's been a while since I posted. A lot of stuff going on in my personal life, some good, some bad, but I just wanted to jump on and make a video real quick about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And that is something I've been asked about quite a bit in the Facebook group that I'm in, and from people I've met personally who are writers and are just frustrated with, I've got something written, what do I do next? So that topic would be networking. So I want to say something about networking first, and it should be genuine. That's the main thing. It should be genuine. We know we're all in this kind of industry where, who you know can help you sometimes more than what you know. Now, don't get me wrong. You still need to have talent. You still need to have the ability. You still need to have that ability to work with others, as well as having written and being able to write well again, write great, really. So I'm not saying it's just who you know, but who you know can get you opportunities. And for people outside the industry, like myself, who you know is how you're going to break in, most likely. You may know I started writing screenplays 28 years ago now. I was brand new. I've said it before. I went to the bookstore. I bought every screenwriting book they had. Sid Fields was my real introduction to the format. I feel like I picked up the format pretty easily, but there's so much stuff about the quality of a screenwriting and story arcs and stuff like that, and ways to do things, payoffs, setups, that you never really, I don't think, get a 100% grasp of it. Everybody's got their strengths and their weaknesses, but I felt like I knew enough to write, so I wrote a few screenplays. One I thought was great, sent it off to a screenplay contest. It did not place. In hindsight, it was very bad, especially the dialogue, so I can understand why it didn't place. But after having written for a few years and written a few screenplays, I just didn't know what the next step was. And I think a lot of us are in that situation. Like, we want to get better. We know there's room that we can improve. But what is that next step? I've got 3, 4, 5 scripts completed, features, pilots, whatever it is, sitting there. You probably don't live in Hollywood. You probably don't live, or are related to someone who's in the movie business that you can just pass it off to and say, hey, can you take a look at this? So as someone outside the industry, there really is this point where I don't know what to do next. Now, 20 years ago, the internet did exist, but it wasn't the way it is now. It wasn't quite as prolific and as necessary. You couldn't find everyone you wanted, hey, can you read my script? There wasn't as many, at least I didn't know of as many screenwriting contests. I knew of, was it Zoetrope or Zoetrope? That was the one I believe I entered. But other than that, I didn't know what to do. And after slaving over it, after pouring my heart into it, I was at a ceiling, and I was like, I'm not going to get any better until I get more feedback. I'm not going to get more feedback until I know somebody. I'm not going to know somebody, is essentially the decision I came to. It was more trouble. It was more pain. It was more disappointment than it was worth. Now, we do have advantages now. And in 20 plus years later, I wish I hadn't given up. I always feel like I give up a little bit too soon on whatever it is, because then right after that, usually there's a big boom and all this opportunity becomes available, or maybe it was there and I just didn't know about it. But so I'm hoping that I can help some people avoid some of the mistakes. I can hoping that at least one person that's contemplating giving up doesn't give up if they watch this video, because sometimes the break you need is right around the corner. So that's where I want to get with networking. What can we do now in 2026 as a nobody, probably outside the industry, where it seems impossible to break in? What is the best way to approach it? If you know me or have been watching the videos for a little bit, you know I am not a produced screenwriter as of yet. I am not a paid screenwriter. I have been paid to write, but I have not been paid for a completed screenplay. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. However, everything I say has been from years of experience, years of meeting with people and hearing their experiences, going to screenwriting contests, going to movie festivals, film festivals. So if watching this couple-minute video saves you a few years, maybe it's worth it. I'm not saying listening to this is going to get you a deal or a contract, but in my opinion, it can't hurt. So I started off by saying, when you're connecting with someone, when you're networking. It's kind of a dirty word sometimes, but the truth of the matter is every industry has it. I just came out of the vehicle processing and logistics industry, import and export, automobiles, um, and I just got laid off. So after 29 years in the industry. Now, I'm not sad about it, honestly. Little worried. It's the first time not employed, but this is what brought the networking issue to me, because now there's, I don't want to say desperation, but now I've got time. I've got time to look back at my contacts. I got time to look at the best way to approach my writing until, my next 9 to 5 comes. But it made me really think about networking and the genuine connections you make. Who can I reach out to and just say, hey, with no expectation, or better yet, something I can offer them. Hey, do you have an idea? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. First thing that you should be doing the entire time is meeting people. Not just reaching up. Not just saying, what can that agent do for me? Hey, I need to talk to that manager. I need to make a connection with that producer so he can make my script. I need to sell this script so I can pay my rent. Unfortunately, that's the wrong way to approach it most of the time, even though that might be a thought in our heads. I know it's my thought right now. It's like, I want to be able to, contribute to the household like I've been for, 3 decades. But you have to kind of get over that and look at a genuine connection. Meet people around you too. Don't just look up. Look sideways. Look at your peers. Look at the people in the same shoes you are. Look down. Look at the people who aren't where you're at yet. Try to help them. Because the truth of the matter is, it's going to be the people around you in your circle, whether they're writers or on sets, they're the ones that are probably going to get the opportunity to help you in some way. A lot of people above us, they just don't have the time. And the way the industry is, it's very hard to break in right now. I mean, we've probably all seen, the stories and the anecdotes, but the people above us already have clients that they're trying to find work for. They don't need another newbie to try to, spend their time on. So what we got to do is nurture from the ground up. We have to do script swaps with friends. And I say friends, not just random people. I mean, you can do random people. That's great too. Get some experience, because random people become friends, become acquaintances. And I mean, I've been in the screenwriting group for 6 years now, and there are people in there I legitimately consider friends now. Even though most of them I've never met in real life. I trust them with my work. I trust their opinions, and they trust me, and that means a lot. And to back up my point, I have contacted a few producers in my time, a few directors who were interested in my work, who I still talk to this day. I met them, I believe all of them, through another writer. Not through a manager, not through an agent, not just querying, which I do still do, but through another writer. They made a contact and said, I'm not right for this project, but Ken might be. And they recommend me. And that is a huge feeling. I mean, in a way, it's almost as good as getting that read request or getting that a script being optioned or something. I've never been there, so I can't quite compare it yet. But I would imagine that sense of all these years of working towards it has earned me trust from someone, from a peer, from a colleague, from someone I respect, and they respect me. And that's what you want. You want that mutual respect. You want that friendship. You want that trust. It's not all about querying, but I still query quite a bit, and especially now where I'm home writing, cleaning, doing the household stuff most of the day now. I look at who I can query, and my first suggestion, and these will be a couple suggestions for those looking to query. First, know that you're going to get a response maybe 2% of the time, and that is, I don't think that's an exaggeration. You're not going to get a lot of feedback, and that's okay. They're busy, they're looking, but you can help yourself. And that goes with my first suggestion. Make sure you're querying people who would be interested in your project or working with you. I don't recommend it. I know people have gotten a few read requests or whatever responses. but I don't know anybody personally who has sold anything from a cold query yet, at least one that they didn't research heavily before they do. I try to find people lower level, managers right now. Agents aren't going to be looking at things most likely unless you win a contest. But managers, maybe producers in a low budget, but in active status, people who are currently working, who maybe just finished a project that has a similar theme, similar tone. I reached out to a agent of a director who I know makes action movies primarily in Mexico. I had just written an action movie set in Mexico in the same area that I know this gentleman works at, and I believe may even have an office or a production team there. I don't know that for 100%, but based on my research. So I thought this would be the right guy for this job. He's probably knows the people, he probably knows the crew, he's probably got actors that he's comfortable working with that would fit into my story. So I'm going to reach out to him. Now, as I researched him, I decided to reach out to his manager or agent first. I didn't want to just reach out to him. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but I reached out to his manager and I got a read request. Now, it's been a while now. He's probably either didn't look at it or looked at it and said, nah. And that's fine. But I don't know. Maybe he hasn't looked at it yet. Maybe he was away. Maybe I'll get a response, a year from now and say, hey, that script, I think I want to do it. But I got a response. And that's the first thing. You want to get that response. So you want to do research to find the person that's most likely to respond to you. Not just respond with a no, but respond with, this is something up my alley. I may not make it. They might not even respond to you and say, no thanks. But make sure you're sending it to the people who are in a position and maybe have the demand for what you're providing. And again, it's about providing, quality to them. Provide something to them. Provide value. Don't ask for a handout. Hey, can you read this script? No. Say, can we swap scripts? And give me some notes, and I'll give you some notes. Provide value, and people are much more willing to open up to a stranger. Okay, so you've done your research. Or where do you do your research? Well, the internet. Internet Movie Database Pro. I pay for it every year. It sucks seeing that money come out of my account, especially now. But it's gotten me more read requests. I've contacted and got responses from some famous or infamous directors and producers. It can work. Again, I haven't sold anything, so I have to preface that. But I do get responses. Whereas I hear from most people saying I never get a response. I get a response 1 or 2% of the time. I would say, knock on wood, I'm pretty fortunate. I probably get responses 10% of the time. And a lot of times it's a no, or yeah, I'll read it, and then I never hear from them again. But when the going, baseline, everyone's saying, 98% of scripts suck, 99%, 99 plus suck, you'll get 1 or 2% read requests, and I get maybe 10%, then I'm doing something right. I would think. And I'm trying to share what I do with you. So first, research. Make sure you're getting a person who's active. Try not to, reach out to someone who's dead. I've seen that happen. Reach out to a person who no longer works at an agency. Reaches out to an agency that no longer exists. These are all mistakes. They're easy to do because information on the internet isn't always updated when, people pass or change jobs. But just try to find the most recent information. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great site. You can even go to Google a person's name and the company you think they're at. And a lot of times it'll come up with maybe posts that they've done. And even if you go to LinkedIn and look for the person, I've had issues sometimes finding the specific person, especially if they have a common name. But if you put in Google sometimes or another search engine, you'll usually find the person, and usually there's a contact information. If there's not contact information, either they don't want you contacting them, so make sure you're reaching out to the right people, or they've hidden it somewhere. And a lot of times you can find it, but if not, maybe find somebody else in the same, if it's a management company, maybe a manager in the same company. If it's an agent, I don't reach out to agents generally because I don't believe I'm at that point yet. I think with the world the way it is right now, looking for a manager or even a low budget indie producer is the way to go right now. But you can usually find contact information for the agencies or the people you're looking for. And now it's easier than ever to find that information until they take it away, because people like us, mass email them. But that's why I said try to provide value, try to send something they'd be interested in, and they're going to feel less like they're being used or asked for something. And that's what you want. You want people to genuinely want to work with you, hear from you, and don't harass them. And when I say don't harass them, the common thing I hear is once you send your request, if they don't respond, they don't want to hear from you. They've either read it and passed, and you let it go. If they send a read request, this is what I tend to have happen: is I'll get the read request. I send the script over. I say thank you. Hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Then I never hear from them, at least not yet. But that's the point you want to get to, because now they've requested it. There's something about it that they liked. It's usually the log line. But there's also something else that I think a lot of people aren't necessarily great at as a skill, even writers, and that's writing emails, writing business or professional emails. And granted, the ones I get back from producers are sometimes, and no knock on any of the some of my producer friends who might stumble across this video, they're not professional emails. They're not, header, footer, and all that stuff. But we should be as professional as possible. That's my opinion. I try to write as, we're the writers. We want them to pay us to write. We need to show them we can write, whether that's a script, a novel, a synopsis, a log line, or an email. So I put as much effort, it's obviously a lot shorter, but I put as much effort in my emails as I do a page of script. And I try to keep it concise because they're busy. If they open up an email and it's 5 pages with an attachment, you're going in the trash. They don't want to see it, which means, number one, no attachments, viruses, lawsuits. Nobody wants an attachment from a stranger. You'll get hit by the junk email bin and all that stuff. So no attachments. What you want to do is, after you've researched the person, you've got it, personalize it. Now, some of these agencies, they'll have like an email address where you can send a submission, and they don't have a particular person's name. I still try to find a name of a person that I think might be reading that email on Internet Movie Database or somewhere like that. Try to find someone in there that's a manager or a clerk or somebody who might be reading them. Not the CEO, unless it's like a 2-person gig and there's only 2 people doing it. But put somebody in there that might actually be reading it. I'm not a big fan of the to whom it may concern. If that's the case, I just put something like good night or good evening or good morning or something like that. But I try to personalize it because I've personalized the whole experience for this project to this person. Is it easier to send out a mass email of 100 to a bunch of randos and maybe get 1 or 2 responses? Probably. I don't do that. I don't like that. I don't think that's the best way to do things, just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I try to find the best chance, try to make it as concise and as economic as possible. If I'm going to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes writing this email, researching this person for another 20 minutes or so, I want to give myself the best chance that I'm going to get a response, and it's going to be somebody who not can help me, but someone who likes what I'm doing, who wants to read what I'm doing, who trusts what I'm doing. Because ultimately, that leads me to my next point. Don't just try to sell your script or your project. You're selling, you're promoting, you're showing off yourself. A lot of paid writing jobs are not for spec scripts, at least not the writer's idea of a spec script. A lot of times they are writing assignments. So you want to write something that you love and that your love shows on the page, that you love this idea, this genre, these characters, and you show it to them and you're like, this is the best thing I've probably ever written. I hope you enjoyed reading it as much as I love writing it. Have a good day. Thank you for your time and consideration. Maybe put a little thing about yourself, but don't go crazy. Don't go overboard. Just a little thing. I've been a writer for 30 years. First time looking for a manager. Thought you'd be interested in this based on previous work, something like that. Put the page count. Do not put query. I prefer to not put the word query anywhere unless that's in like their email address or something. But I can guarantee you they've got something set up where if they see query, it's probably going in the junk email. I use the title of the screenplay, I use the genre, and I put the number of pages in the subject line. Sometimes I put like my last name or something if maybe they know me, put like Collins or K Collins or something like that. But send a nice email, but no attachment, obviously. But the thing to remember is it's not just about that script. You don't want to be one and done or none and done. You want a job. You want a career. You want this person to want you to write with them in the future, hopefully. You want to get paid semi-regular. I mean, so you're selling yourself. You're selling your skills. You're selling your personality. You're showing this person who you are through your email, through your work, through the way you conduct yourself. Which leads me back to the no harassing part. You send them your thing, your query, your submission. They may request the full manuscript, and you send it. If they don't request the manuscript, you don't send it. After 3 weeks is the number I've heard. After 3 weeks, if they have not responded to you in any form, it's okay to reach out again. Say, hey, I forwarded this to you. Have you had a chance to look at it? If they do not respond to you again, don't worry, cut them. Don't worry about it. Don't harass them. Don't keep sending emails. People are busy, or they might have already read it and told you no. They might have something in their personal lives. Just let it go. If they read it and they love it, they will reach out to you. It might be a year later, but if they love it, they will reach out. Because that's the common misbelief, is that people, and this might be a common theme that I bring up just in my experience, and that is the idea of gatekeepers. Are there people trying to keep out work? Yes, there are people trying to keep out bad work, bad people that don't want to work with them. They don't want to be inundated. If they read every script or every query that came in, they would never be able to have careers of their own. They would never have time to do a job. So yes, they don't want the bad stuff. They want the good stuff. Somebody has to make that decision. And unfortunately for some of us who are approaching it what I think is the right way, it's hard for us sometimes to make a name or to get in or to get through that wall. But the truth of the matter is this: they want to say yes. Let me repeat that. Every reader that sits down with a script wants to enjoy it. They want to read it. They want to have a good time. And I say this as a reader for a screenplay contest. When I sit down and it's bad, or even just okay, there's some good scripts I read that were a drag to read. And I can put it down and I can objectively say, that was a good script. It was all right. But that 2 hours felt like 3 hours. What you want is somebody that enjoys the script, that enjoys your email, that isn't put off by your personality, that isn't being harassed. They are going to be more likely to like you as a person and say, you know what? No, I can't make his, alien, space, war, supernatural, thriller, comedy with romance triangle or whatever. That actually might be a cool movie. But anyway, we don't have the budget for that. However, we do have something we're working on. The screenwriter doesn't want to make the changes. We believe this guy, through his dialogue or whatever it is, can punch it up and give us what we need. So they might come back to you and say, hey, what else you got? Just make sure you're not a one-trick pony, that this wasn't, one lucky script, or that the one script you've poured 40 years of your life into and you've got nothing else. If they say something like that, you should have something else to show them. You should have an example, but it's a good sign that they like your writing. It's not just about selling your script or making your movie. They might offer you another gig. They say, hey, well, I can't make that movie, but you can write our movie. And I've had producers And I'm a nobody. In the grand scheme of things, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody with a small YouTube channel that nobody watches. But I've had producers come to me, and so it can happen. It does happen. And they will say, I've got this idea. I got time to write it because I'm producing a movie. What do you think? Can you pitch it back to me? And I take the idea, I brainstorm it for a weekend or something, and I pitch it back to them. And sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't like it. They don't want to do anything with it, or they can't do anything, and that's okay. The money people make the decisions, but ultimately, you're selling yourself. So I've already talked probably a lot more than I expected to on this topic. So I'm going to just try to boil it down and tie it in a nice little bow at the end here. Make networking genuine. Don't try to use people. They can feel it, they can sense it, and they'll knock you away and never want to talk to you again. Make it genuine. Be concise and specific in who you're targeting. That it's somebody that can help you, or it's somebody around you that can come up with you. If you get a gig, and maybe you can, recommend them for something. If they get a gig, they can recommend you for something. It's not just who you know, but it's about who's going to stand up for you in rooms that you're not in. I saw that comment somewhere, and I thought that was great. Because that's a good feeling. So be specific about who you're trying to network with. Make a genuine connection. I'd rather have a friend or a group of friends than one, producer that really doesn't like me. You know what I mean? Like, you have more chances of having fun. I mean, we're doing this because we love writing, we love reading, most likely. You want to have fun doing it. You want to write stuff you want to write. You want to have fun working with people. Because if a project does go into production or near production, pre-production, you're going to be communicating with these people. This isn't a one and done. You're not going to be able to just, all right, here's my script, bye. See you, next week, year, whatever. They're going to be talking to you. They're going to probably be making changes. They're going to be working with you. They're going to be asking you things. They're going to be, and if you aren't that guy or girl or whoever, you're not the person that they can work with, they're going to fire you from your own script. Now, there's other things you can do other than query letters. Go to screenwriting contests, like the film festivals. I've been to a couple. The connections I've made at this juncture haven't meant much, but it's only been a few years. In 10 years, hopefully, if we're all still here, that number is going to, raise exponentially between the people I know online, the people I know in person, the people I've reached out to in query letters. And the more people you know, the more people doing it. I mean, if you had asked me 6 years, even 6 years ago, I knew no one. No one. I had no producers in my contacts. I had no other screenwriters. I had no professional screenwriters. You know how many professional screenwriters I personally know now? Like, just from a little bit of effort. And I'm nobody. And that's why it's like, I keep harping on it, but everybody wants the overnight success. Overnight success takes 10 years on average. So if I'm nobody, and I've already did this and gave up and came back to it and had a full-time job, and I can make at least a little bit of headway that I've done, you can too. Trust me. I think I'm a good writer. I think I have a slight, I don't want to say advantage, but I think I will get to the point where I will sell something. I have that belief. At least I'll have the opportunity to sell something. And I think we all can. Like, I'm not trying to be all kumbaya, but don't give up yet. Is I guess what I'm saying. Like, this was about networking, but it's also about don't give up just because you don't have a cousin or an uncle in the show business. And the funny thing is, if you ask around, you might have a connection you didn't know about. One of my best friends is done special effects on horror movies that have worldwide releases. Like, can he help me as a screenwriter? Maybe not. But who does he know? Who is in his circle that, I could meet that would help me? And come at it with value. don't come at it as needy. Don't come at it with desperation. And trust me, I'm feeling the desperation right now because that weekly paycheck ain't coming anymore. So, and it's taken a lot out of me to just not be desperate and work on the projects that I had laid out that I want to make, that I want to, have, not produced necessarily by me, but so that's a whole nother video. I think I might do a video on that as well about, writing full time, the good and the bad, and there's some ugly. But anyway, so it's good to be back. It's good to make a video. I like talking to myself in the basement. Hope you guys like this. Hope you learned something or it helped you. But I guess if I could give you any word of advice in this whole thing, I know I rambled. Don't give up yet, because you don't know when. Trust me, I've almost given up so many times, and then the next day I see a thing on Facebook. I need a screenwriter, and you write them, and you get a response, and then there's a read request, and it's like a whole thing. And does it lead to money? Does it lead to fame? Probably not. But you never get that email if you give up. You never get the opportunity. And I'm a firm believer in, if you keep trying, that perseverance may not be more important than, I would argue that it is more important than talent. Because I've read screenplays from the guys in the group and the girls in the group, and from friends. And again, I am way over my minute limit on this, so I'll end it now. But there are so many talented writers. And I know we hear the 90, 99% of the scripts suck. And I would say that means they're not producible. But there's talent, there's vision. Maybe I would argue that maybe 60% just suck. Just totally suck. People don't know how to write. People aren't, I hate to say it, but they're just not they're not writers. They haven't learned the language yet. They don't learn the format or whatever. But I would say between 39% are very talented. They have a lot of ideas, and they just have trouble putting it down. I know putting it down is the writing part, but I've read so many scripts that are this close. They're this close. Like, I love that script, but it's not going to do anything, sadly. So anyway, just don't give up. Don't give up yet. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to go 100% now that I don't have another income at the moment. And I'll probably do a video on that, but stay writing. Try again, I should probably edit the crap out of this video, but try to reach out. How often you're reaching out now, hopefully not through mass emails, but through specifics, reach out to people consistently. If it's 2 emails a day to targeted managers and producers that you think realistically would like your work or like you, consistency and perseverance pays off. That's it. I gotta cut it because I could talk all day on this. See you later.